Could Lucid Group be on the cusp of a bit of a short squeeze, or is it just the victim of its increasingly softening fundamentals? Hi again, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. So the other day I had someone comment in one of my videos about giving my thoughts on what's going on with Lucid stock and whether I think it could possibly get targeted for a short squeeze. Look, I used to look at Lucid a little bit. I haven't covered it to any great length for a few months now, but looking at it on the surface, it's got obviously a high short interest with about 22% of the stock float held short. And that's like, on market, that's not like off market shorts. Now, there's still a significant number of days to cover. And I think this is actually a pretty key statistic in understanding whether a short squeeze can happen, because if there's going to be some momentum to drive the stock up, you kind of want to see that days to cover at a lower figure. So 7 days is over a week, obviously. So, if there was to be any sort of short-term pop in the stock, it still gives the, people in short a bit of time on average to hold on to their positions and see if it comes back down. Now, in terms of what's been happening with Lucid Motors this year, basically based on their Friday close, so they're literally only 1 cent above where the stock started off at the start of the year. So they kind of had a bit of excitement through the start of the year. There was high expectations for what the year was going to look like. However, that sort of petered out. And, obviously in part that's going to be to do with, the macro conditions. High inflation means people are not going to be looking to buy as many things like luxury cars, and, Lucid's products do fall into that luxury category. So people who are looking for new cars are probably less likely to be looking at higher end sort of vehicles like Lucid has sort of pitched itself. And one of the other problems is Lucid's kind of, seen some significant dilution in its share count. It's had, I think, about 13 or 14% increase in its shares outstanding over the last 12 months based on their most recent financials. So that's not good news if you're looking to see if this stock can be shorted, because there's so many shares available in the company. Obviously, it's quite tightly held, particularly by the Saudi private public investment fund, which is the main shareholder in the company. But the fact that float count has jumped significantly does sort of water down the underlying value and potential earnings of the company. So it's kind of, in a sense, like, yes, there's a high short interest, that there's still quite a few days to cover. So just looking at that purely, I don't think we have the momentum there for a short squeeze at the present. If that was to ride down a little bit, that would take a little bit of a rally from the stock to drive that average days to cover down. But that foreseeably seems a bit challenging at the moment. And if you look at the underlying fundamentals of the stock, the fact that we've kind of seen an increasing number of shares outstanding, and backed up by a income statement which isn't too flash, like the company's not delivering as many cars as and selling as many cars as people had hoped for the other year, and that's still a bit of a problem. It's going to be an ongoing, persisting issue for Lucid Motors as long as we are in this like tight macroeconomic environment. People are just going to find it tough to pay big money. I don't know, maybe someone can correct me here, but I believe there was some talks about Lucid even cutting the prices of their vehicles to try and sell a little bit more, like Elon Musk sort of successfully did with Tesla. People kind of criticized him when he went through some price cuttings to thin his margins and try up the sales. I think I might be wrong this, but I heard that Lucid did try to do something like that earlier this year, and I don't know if we've seen any results. If anyone knows something about that, let me know in the comments below. I'm a little bit out of touch with Lucid, but so I'm purely, when I'm talking about this short squeeze potential here, I'm purely looking at it from the fundamentals that I can understand. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch, and I'm just giving my 2 cents and my thoughts. The other thing worth considering is that Lucid Motors is obviously quite a big company. The fact that it's backed by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund kind of gives it that degree of stability. However, the fact that it's not able to, hasn't yet been able to meet the market potential in terms of sales that people have wanted and possibly kind of expected, that really kind of softens the situation. And a couple of years ago, people were saying Lucid's going to be the next Tesla. And, of all the startup EV companies, pure play EV companies, it probably, arguably had like the best case, in part because of its huge backing and the fact that, with their product, the Lucid Air, their initial vehicle that they were launching, it was going to have the longest range for a chargeable EV vehicle on the market. So, they did have a couple of things really going in their favor, but, just the market's not right for that sort of company right now. And it's no secret that a lot of other upstart EV companies have struggled. And I think what we're seeing with the legacy automakers as they slowly make their own inroads into the renewable energy space with their vehicles, that, like these small upstarts who were trying to capture market share before the big players got in, they're really going to start to struggle now. And Lucid might be sort of in that, cast in that group too. Like, I don't know how well their products are going to stand apart from the broader market, especially as you have like these bigger automakers going electric as well. Yeah, so while there's like never say never, I don't think the short squeeze is on for Lucid Motors. And just another sort of general note too, I feel like the whole trend of retail short squeezes has, sort of fizzled out a bit. We're not in 2021 anymore when, people were kind of high times with the market. We've had the whole GameStop and AMC capturing the minds of everyone, and every day there was like a new stock to target for a short squeeze. That sort of momentum's gone. The people behind that, and I'm guilty of being caught up in it a little bit. I kind of was caught up in it a little bit and, burnt my fingers a little bit. People are a bit more hesitant. They've kind of matured a little bit. I don't think there's as much appetite for that sort of play. Just my thought on it anyway. Anyway, that's what I think about Lucid and the potential of a short squeeze. I think, yes, high short count, but I don't think the fundamentals nor the finances behind the company are going to give it too much gusto. So if there was to be a short squeeze, it's going to be, very short-lived. I don't think it's going to be anything monstrous. Anyway, share your thoughts on Lucid Motors in the comments below. If there's another stock you want me to potentially look at, share that as well. I'm happy to give my thoughts on it. Not financial advice, never is, but yeah, love to hear from you guys. And until next time, the market's trading in your favor. Cheers.